All right, hello and welcome to your final day of toilet training. Woohoo! So today I want to talk about kind of the bookends of an essay, the introduction and the conclusion, because as small as they are, as minor as they are really important to introducing your essay, hence the name introduction, and concluding it, really wrapping it up nicely. If you don't have those things, you don't really have an essay. So I figured it's important to kind of look at how Dakota models those things as well. So when it comes to introductions, in most essays, the introduction will include context, so the title, author, general information about the topic. So if you were writing an essay about a book, we would get the title of the book, the author of the book, and a little brief summary of the book. In an argument essay, the context is a brief description of the problem at hand, because your reader really isn't going to care about what you're writing about or want to make the change that you're asking them to make if they don't fully understand what the issue is and its significance. So if we look at Dakota's essay, I have the context underlined in black here. So we have, first, I don't bring up these things specifically in this lesson, but we also have an attention getter in our essay. So every day I walk into the first floor restroom by the office and I can't believe the mess. This is a really nice attention getter because we're wondering, like, oh my gosh, like what's going on in this restroom? Like, why is it so messy? So then she gets into the actual context of the issue. There's toilet paper covering 75% of the floor, soap dripping from the dispenser onto the wall, and paper towels stuck to the ceiling, writing covering almost every inch of the stalls. So this is where we really get that overview where Dakota paints a picture of what this problem is for us. Because if we took this part out and she was like, there's a mess in the bathroom, it's disgusting, and she just hops right into this part where she says, hey, seventh graders, let's do something. No matter who's reading the essay, they're not really going to understand what the problem is, right? They're going to be like, well, all bathrooms are a little bit dirty. Like, why should we care? No, this bathroom is really dirty. There's toilet paper everywhere. There's soap dripping. This is not a normal seventh grade situation. This is extreme. So that's why Dakota provides that context for us. And when you write your essay, you're going to give a very similar type of context, right? We're going to be writing about more large scale issues, so maybe you'll have to do some research to find your context, but no matter what, you have to give that background information. So moving on to conclusions, this is the very end of our essay. And in an argument specifically in persuasive writing, the conclusion is a call to action, right? If you're comparing it to a book essay, if you're writing about a book, you would give the background information and your thesis about the book. So I'm going to prove this about this book. And then at the end, you would restate that thesis. It's very, very similar for persuasive writing. You are going to be doing that, but you're also going to be adding in something called a call to action. So, like I said, in the beginning of the essay, you will be telling your reader what you want them to do or change or stop, right? What you're trying to convince them to do. So it's kind of pointless to go through the whole essay and then at the end be like, yeah, so that's all the information that I have, and then just like restate your thesis. No, you want to specifically tell them what you want them to do and how you want them to do it. Because ultimately that's what's going to really wrap up your essay and give you that drop the mic moment that you want to tell your reader what it is you want them to be doing. So in Dakota's essay, I have it in black underline again. She has several spots where she gives specific ways that she wants her audience to make this change. She says, it's time we grow up and take care of the space we live in. Stop and consider what you're doing. If you see anyone else making a mess, talk to them about their actions. It's time that we take care of our school and ourselves, right? So all these different pieces of her saying, not only here's the information that I've given you, but here's what we seventh graders need to do. Boom, 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 all these different examples, right? So again, it's very important to consider the information we're giving to help our reader understand in our introduction, and the information we're giving at the end to help our reader to go forward and make the change. The introduction and the conclusion is where we really, really hone in on our audience and decide, okay, how am I going to help my audience understand? How am I going to help them to make the change? And all the stuff in the middle is the essay itself. So let me tell you what you're doing today. Very, very short lesson there. I'm not going to have you do a check for understanding on this just because it's pretty basic stuff. It's just a little bit of new information on introduction and conclusion. But what I still will have you do is our lovely Flipgrid Friday. So if you go in there, a lot of people have been saying they don't know the password. It's the same every week. It's always Holloway 9. It's the same Flipgrid every week. We have our grid and I just add new topics every week. So maybe take a moment to write down that password on a sticky note and stick it to your workspace so you never forget. The password is Holloway9. So you're going to go back into the Friday folder and enter into the Flipgrid Friday like you normally would. This Flipgrid will be graded for like class points. So instead of just weaving it into your participation at the end, I will actually like make a grade column for it and put this in because we're doing something related to content today. So in the Flipgrid, you're going to be asked to think about the toilet training essay that we read. So think about all these days that we put into reading this and analyzing it, and reflect on that 2 to 3 paragraph little letter that you wrote to Mr. Beer, Dr. Mohammed, to me, whoever you wrote to about the school rule or a class expectation that you wanted to change. If you haven't written that yet, you're going to be in trouble for this. You're going to have to either quickly write it and do the Flipgrid or take the loss on this because after this, we're moving on. So what I want you to do is go in, read your essay over again and think, okay, now that I know what an actual good A-level essay looks like and what's going to be expected of me with all these different elements of persuasion, our audience, argument, issue, claim, evidence, counterclaim, rebuttal, all those things we learned about, and think about my essay that I wrote. If I wanted to turn my mini essay into a really good solid essay like Dakota's, what would I need to change or add? So maybe when you wrote your 2 to 3 paragraphs before you knew what was expected of you, you just wrote a rant about a school rule you didn't like, but you didn't give a call to action. You didn't tell your audience what you wanted them to do or change. You would say, oh, I need to add in a thesis. I need to make an argument. I need to develop some reasons why. Or maybe you were just missing the reasons, or maybe you were just missing the evidence. You could say, oh, I told my audience that I wanted them to increase passing time because students need time to go to the bathroom, but I didn't give them any evidence to support that. So you don't have to actually go in and make the changes. All you have to do is tell me hypothetically, if you were to turn this first draft into a better second draft, what things you would have to add in or change. All right. So that wraps up the toilet training series of lessons for this week. I hope this was really helpful for you in understanding what's expected of you when you actually write an essay, and having that on the brain. That is what we're going to hop into next week, kind of exploring topics, introducing that lesson or introducing that assignment, and then starting to do some research. So we're really going to hop into it and get going with that writing assignment. On another note, I forgot to mention the fact that we aren't going back to school. I guess I never really addressed that in these videos. I'm sure you've already heard we will not be going back to school for the rest of the semester. It's very sad. And so I have decided to just kind of cap the school year at this persuasion unit and just take a lot of time to really help you guys to create a nice final piece of writing for our time together. I'm hoping that we can maybe somehow schedule a time for us to all meet on Zoom, just because we won't be able to see each other in person again. But know that I still miss you, and I will still be here for you going forward. So get that Flipgrid in and enjoy your weekend.